Illinois.
Well, surprise, surprise. It's the Disney Baker. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my kitchen. And we're going to make some Irish soda bread today. Oh, my goodness. You know, oh, hold on one second. Turn off my hot water. I was excited. I wanted to do something a couple of weeks ago. And I said, you know what? I said, I'll just go ahead and save this for Irish soda bread. So we take this time. So we have St. Patrick's Day coming up, which is a big day for a lot of people. Big day for me when I was in retail baking because we made so many Irish soda breads. We would start making Irish soda breads. Oh my gosh, like last week of February, we would double bag them and freeze them in banana boxes and stick them in the freezer and code the boxes. That's how many we sold. And the week of St. Patrick's Day, I can't tell you how many we made. That being said, a lot went into that, ordering, making sure you had enough, of course, soda, which is, baking soda, but that's not the primary, is buttermilk. Ordering buttermilk, making sure you had gallons of buttermilk. The week of, and we had a great time mixing it. And Irish soda bread isn't as hard as most people think. I'm going to turn over here to my iPad and say hello to a couple people. Hello, Hitchhiking Bones, Theo, good to see you again, and Katie Y. And I know a lot of people are probably taking a nap from other streams this morning, but I just wanted to do some baking, and let's bake some Irish soda bread together. And I have my recipe, which I've used for a long time. And one of the things with my recipe was that I used to like using pastry flour. You can buy pastry flour at the markets, and you have to look hard for it early on. Some of the smaller markets may not carry a pastry flour. I like pastry flour because it makes my Irish soda bread have this just different coarseness to it that I really like. And I just think for texture and bite appeal, it just works for me. And that's the recipe that I really developed on my own. If you can't find pastry flour in your store, what you can do is you can get some cake flour. Okay, this is just Swan's cake flour. And then you can get enriched bread flour. This is Pillsbury's 5-star enriched bread flour. And now what I would do is I mix my all-purpose flour, which I have here. It's just regular all-purpose flour. Okay, people say, well, what's the difference between bread flours and all-purpose flours? It's the soda ash that's actually in the mill of the wheat. One thing I wanted to show you was this amazing shirt that someone amazing made for me. And it says, faith and batter. Wait a minute, mixing faith and batter, because miracles and muffins are made in the kitchen. And Katie Y made this for me, and I love it. And this is my official leprechaun button. So I am a leprechaun. I just don't have the pointy ears today. I'll get those Monday. So I have all-purpose flour. I have sugar. Set this here. I have bread flour and cake flour. So what I'm going to do is I need a total of 4 cups of flour. So I'm going to take 1 cup of pastry flour, 2 cups of pastry flour, but I need to make it. I'm going to take 1 cup of cake flour. I've already preheated my oven to 400 degrees, okay? And it's going to actually go up to 425 now because we're almost ready, okay? We are going to be using an iron skillet today to make our Irish soda bread. And we're going to, I need a small knife. I can use my big knife here. I'm trying not to get out of the picture because this camera, for some reason today, just wanted to, I think what's in this camera, Katie and I were talking about it, that it was going wonky. And Well, wonky's a good word. I think there's fairies in my laptop because, you know, in Ireland there's fairies. I think there's fairies in my laptop, and we'll touch a little bit more about that later on. Um, you know, everybody has traditions in their families, and I think traditions are important. I think it's important to keep your family traditions shared, even if it's something just really small. You know, share it with your family, share it with your kids, share it with your aunts. I mean, your uncles that may forget, or reach out to your aunts and your uncles and your grandparents and go, what's a tradition that mom and dad used to do, or mom used to do when she was younger, for the holidays? And they'll tell you. All right, so we're going to go, and this is one of those traditions. I used to love making Irish soda bread at work, and I wanted, um, and oh, there's another thing that we'll talk about later. So stick around. There's a surprise that's really, really cool. I'm using cake flour. I have to walk out of my picture, so I'll walk out slowly. Maybe it won't. I have to get a sifter. Oh, right. And the sifter, please. Move the sifter. La, 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 la. There we go. I think the sifter police couldn't reach the sifter. And have it back. Okay, so this is my sifter. Cake flour is usually lumpy. Pastry flour sometimes can be lumpy. Okay, so we're going to take 1 cup of cake flour. This is a half a cup because a 1 cup scoop won't fit in there. So that's 1 cup cake flour, and we're going to go ahead and sift that in. So what we're doing is we're making pastry flour. You want to sift your flour for 2 reasons. Same like if you were making beignets, you want to sift your flour because sometimes there will be little tiny lumps in this, but you want to add air into your flour. It's really important to add air into your flour when you're making like beignets or some things like this. I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the picture here. And welcome to my kitchen. If it's your first time here, welcome. Hopefully it won't be your last because we're going to be doing bakes now on Saturdays. And this again is a half cup. Now this is bread flour. This is Pillsbury's Best. Pillsbury's Best 5-star bread flour. I call it 5-star. So there's a half a cup. And there's a half a cup, which is now 1 cup. Okay, which will make 1 cup and 1 cup, which will make a total of 2 cups. So we need 2 cups of pastry flour. So now this flour here combined, this bread flour combined with the cake flour will make a pastry flour. Some recipes you may see online won't call for that, and that's fine. I'm going to walk over here again. Most of your, how can I say this professionally? Most of your videos that you will see on YouTube and Instagram or things, some of them aren't made by professional bakers. This one is. I am a professional baker. So I've been a baker for 40 years. I'm going to set this here. All right, so now we're going to go with our regular straight up all-purpose flour, and I need 2 cups, and this is a half cup. And so I'm going to spec in there. I'm going to get my sifter, and I'm going to put in 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the nice thing with Irish soda bread is it's a science because of the way that the baking soda and baking powders, the egg and the buttermilk and the salt, and everything work together. It's literally a science. But the other thing is don't stress out on it too much. It's a really wet, if you've ever made scratch biscuits, it's a really wet dough. So I'm just going to take this and just mix this together with my little doodah here. Get a good mix. And okay, so we don't want to block camera. And let's see. I might be able to lift this camera up. So let's see if I can do that. And I'll just move some of my buttermilk out here. One second. Now I have to walk out of the picture again. Hold on. Here we go. And then I think you have a pretty good view. Oh, that's a perfect view. All right, great. Let's leave that. All right, so we can bring up both of those. Thanks, Katie. I appreciate you. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're just mixing those together. All right, so we have 4 cups of flour, 2 cups of all-purpose, 2 cups of pastry. Okay, I'll have, when I go back, I'll show you. I'll put this recipe in, how to make your pastry flour and so forth. My next ingredient is going to be sugar. So I need 1 cup of sugar. This is a 1/2 cup measurer. Oh, I see what you were talking about, Katie. I see that lag there. I wonder why that is. All right, so I need 1 total cup of sugar. All right, this is a 1/2 cup, so this is 1. And 2, make 1 cup. Now, what we were discussing before is it's going to be like making scratch biscuits. It's going to be really, really wet and sloppy, and that's okay. This is the way you want it. You don't want it to be tight like a rye bread or a white bread or something similar to that. You want it to stay sloppy. All right, so I've already used my measures here. I think I'll use this measure for my liquid. I'm going to step off camera. This recipe does call for raisins, so you would definitely need, get my salt, I'm sorry. You would definitely need to have your raisins. I used golden raisins, and again, I'm looking to expand my workspace here in the kitchen, and that will come in time. We appreciate you being here and supporting the channel. Thanks for being a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, hit that like button, please, and subscribe, and check that notification bell so every time I go live, you'll know. Okay, so now we have our sugar, we have our flour. Now we need a teaspoon of salt. Now, 1 teaspoon of salt. Watch very carefully how I do my teaspoon of salt. I'm going to use this little container because if I go overboard on my teaspoon, you can't see it. Let me do it here. If I go overboard on my teaspoon of salt, and second, I get my piece of paper off of here. Let me dump that right into the trash. Start over. 1 teaspoon of salt. If I go over my teaspoon of salt and I'm over this container, it's okay. I'm going to put it in there. But if I'm over this container, I go over, then I have to throw all that away. So remember that. If you're pre-scaling your items, you'll see some shows where they'll pre-measure or pre-scale out their items. I suggest that. I think those are great. If you go to an Oriental restaurant and they give you those little plastic containers with little plastic lids to take some stuff home the next time you're there, ask if you can get 10 of them with lids, and then you can pre-scale your items and then just wash them and dry them and reuse them. These are good little tidbits of information you'll learn from the Disney baker. Okay, so that was our salt. And now we need, that was a teaspoon, I'm sorry, that was a quarter teaspoon of salt. Okay, so we did not mix that in. So it's going to be right here. So we're going to basically take that off. A quarter teaspoon of salt. Okay, so now I just took it off the surface. We have a quarter teaspoon of salt in there. We're going to do 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Hence when I was talking about not putting your items over top. I guess that didn't work for the salt, did it? Because Chris didn't read the recipe correctly. Hey. I haven't baked in a while. All right, we're just getting some of the lumps out of the baking soda here. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll get our teaspoon. And another good way to get your lumps out, one of the ways my grandmother taught me, get your quarter. This is a quarter. This is a 1 teaspoon, not a quarter. Put it in your hand. Okay, and then just rub the center of your hand with your, and that gets the lumps out. Or again, you can put it in a sifter, but a quarter teaspoon or a teaspoon in that is little. It doesn't take up. This is, if you remember before, this is my handy dandy plastic scraper. Okay, and I did get fresh baking soda and fresh baking powder. They're not that expensive. So if you don't bake a lot, know that your baking powder can go bad. This calls for a teaspoon of baking powder and baking soda. That's in there. Baking powder can go bad if it's not sealed properly or stored properly, so just know that. Hello, everybody in chat. Let me back up and say hello. Hello, Monorail Molly. Oh my gosh, I missed so many people. Hello, Monorail Molly. Hello, Tanya. Save me some. Okay, I don't know where you're going to be this week. Hello, Kay Wilbury. Hello, Martin Memphis. Let's see, keep going. Sebastian the Crab. Hello, Space Mountain Dave. Hello. Julie, what's going on, Julie? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Okay, so I promise I'll try to look at chat more. Thank you. I'm not used to looking at chat when I'm baking in the kitchen, so we're going to give that a dry stir. Okay, so now we have our liquids. We need to get our liquids together. I did talk about raisins. I like Sun-Maid raisins. I love Sun-Maid raisins. They're always, oh my gosh, excuse me. They're always made. There's usually never rocks or pebbles in them or anything. And there's no stems. These are golden. And these are just regular, I call them just regular black raisins. I used half and half. Okay, so my recipe calls for half and half of raisins. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get another container that I have to reach for. Okay, I'm going to take my flour now and my salt and my sugar and my baking powder and baking soda, and I'm going to stick it in there. Okay. I'm going to take my raisins. Okay. It says 2 cups of raisins. Okay. I pre-soak my raisins. I pre-soak my raisins overnight. I take my raisins. I took 1 cup of golden raisins and 1 cup of black raisins. I took about 8 or 10 ounces of hot water. Just dump the water over the raisins, put them in a Tupperware container, let them sit out on the counter overnight. And now they're plump, super plump raisins, which is going to keep your Irish soda bread nice and moist. Okay, so now I can measure these out because they have swelled. And I'm going to get 1 cup of golden raisins and 1 cup of black raisins. And you say, well, what do you do with the rest of the raisins? Well, put them in your cereal if there are any. If you like raisins. You do not have to use raisins for this recipe. Okay, that came to 1 cup. I'm going to dump that in. So it's still a cup. It just absorbed the water. Perfect. It's still your 1 cup. And again, if it's over a little bit, it's fine. If it's under a little bit, it's still fine. Next thing I like, I can't hit my mute button. 1 second. Do, 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 do. Sorry, folks. Had a tickle in my throat. Why does it say tickle? It doesn't tickle. It's more like a rah, rah. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my 1 egg that I already have. I'm going to pour my 1 egg in. I'm going to get my, where did I write that? And on my buttermilk. I like to shake my buttermilk. And you can make your own buttermilk if you don't like store-bought buttermilk. You can make your own buttermilk. It says 1 cup. We're going to need more. I don't believe it. And now we're going to pour that in here. If you just take regular milk and add lemon juice to it and let that sit and ferment for a little bit. And then what I like to do is just mix this up together because it's my liquids. So we have butter going in next. We'll let this stuff mix together. That was just 12 ounces. I think I'm going to need more than that, but we'll see. What we were talking about before, how it is, a wet mixture. You'll have your flour right next to you, so you can add a half handful of flour to it if you think it's too messy. Follow with what I'm doing and see how it is for me. And then when you experience making it for yourself, you'll understand that. And again, your buttermilk is going to kind of settle back into your measuring cup. All right, we're going to take this from here, move it over here. Hope to expand my mixing area shortly. All right, so we're going to make a well down in here. Okay, and now we're going to get our butter. Okay, so what we need is our butter is we need 5 1/4 tablespoons of butter on the side of your stick. It tells you how much. 1 tablespoon, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 1/4. Okay. If you can, and this is soft room temperature butter. Okay. If you think you can do that, cut that quarter. Good luck. I'm going to move some of my flour away. Make some room here so you guys can see. I'm going to move my raisins to the front. My hand flour is here. All right, so I'm going to open up my butter. This is room temperature butter. I set this out last night. I use salted butter because I like just the way the salted butter tastes. Okay, And if I count again, I'll turn my butter around. It says 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1/4. And if I got 5 1/2, I'm still okay, because the rest I can use for, here's my butter going in. The rest I can use for bagels in the morning. All right. There's my butter knife. Step it over here. Now, how do you mix butter into that? Okay, it's just overwhelming, right? Well, there's a couple ways. You can use a pastry blender. This is a pastry blender. This is a Pampered Chef pastry blender. If your butter was hard, I would definitely suggest using the pastry blender. But my butter is room temperature. I think we're going to be okay. Let me stack this butter up over here. Give us a little bit more room to work. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to take my Pampered Chef. I have a Pampered Chef spatula here. You don't have to have a Pampered Chef. I like my Pampered Chef stuff. If you have anything Pampered Chef or you don't, I look into it. I've had this stuff for a long time. You can see it. That pastry blender I've used many times. I have 2 pastry blenders. I have my grandmother's, which was handed down to me from my mom. And then I have that one, which my wife bought, I think right after we got married. And then when my mom passed, I got my grandmother's. So, hello, Dave. Jordan, what's going on? Good to see you. Hello, everybody. Has anybody ever made Irish soda bread before? Okay, so what we're going to do is just mix this butter in. And what you want to do is you want to mix the butter into your flour until you get until it's like almost dissolved. And you can tell the flour now is starting to get a little lumpy. Okay, now it's mixed in pretty good. No big lumps of butter sitting anywhere. And even if there were, they're going to get mixed in. I think the largest piece of butter I have is like that big. They're just little tiny lumps. All right, so I'm going to take the butter off of my Pampered Chef spatula here. Okay, and you know what? If you're having fun today and you're learning something, and this has added some value to what you'd like to do in the kitchen, or what you'd like to start doing in the kitchen or start making, let me know in the comments. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. All right, so now at this point, we're going to review. We have our 4 cups of flour, 2 cups of all-purpose, 2 cups of pastry, which we made out of cake flour and bread flour, 1 cup of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 egg, 5 1/4 tablespoons of butter, 2 cups of raisins, 1 golden raisins pre-soaked and 1 dark raisins pre-soaked. And now we have 1 cup of buttermilk. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put all that together. I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way because I'm going to have to need more space. Excuse me while I move this to the side. Now I'll check chat when I come right back. Oh, that was my pastry cutter. Okay. All right. So before I add my liquid, we're going to talk about how we're going to bake this. Okay. So my oven is set at 425 degrees. Okay. It's a hot bake. Okay. We are going to bake it in this. Hello, Gonzo. What's up, brother? Ladies and gentlemen, Adventures of Gonzo. Good to see you. We're going to, this is what we're going to bake it in, okay? But before we add that liquid, I want to get my piece of pastry paper that I pre-cut. Okay, and I had my scissors. I placed my scissors somewheres. Oh my goodness. Those fairies were in my kitchen. I know I opened up my cake flour with the scissors, and now they've disappeared. Oh, there they are. Sorry if I'm going in and out of the picture, but okay, so this is approximately a 9-inch cast iron frying pan. So what I'm going to do is I've measured across the side. I folded it in half. Now I'm going to fold it in another half. And then I'm going to fold it here. I can go ahead and set this under here temporarily. So just keep folding it corners over. One more time. And what this is going to do, this is going to help reduce the amount of sticking, if any, on the bottom of this. All right, so then I go from here and I go from the center, try to find the center, and put this on it. And I'm going to come up the sides just a little bit. So I'm just going to go from the center, and then I'm going to extend about a 1/2 inch to a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch, and cut that right across. All right. And then we're going to unfold this, and we're going to place it inside here. Okay. Now, how I do that is I cheat. I'll use a little bit of Pam. I'll use a little bit of Pam on the bottom. Just a little stick. Now you say, well, if you're using Pam, why didn't you just use Pam to begin with? Just because this is less cleanup. Just like that. And there we go. All right, so now we're going to set our iron skillet there, turn our handle, and now we are ready. Is everybody ready? All right, let me see, read some results. Greetings to all. Hey, aliens in green hats, welcome. Good to see you. Hello. Thanks for being here. Julie loves baking. Then, Julie, you should come on live with me one time and bake with me. The parchment paper peels off easily. It sure does, Mar. It sure does. And you can buy parchment paper at your local supermarket. It comes in something that looks just like this. Okay, you don't have to buy the real expensive stuff. Buy the great value. It's all the same. Parchment paper is parchment paper unless it says on here silicone treated. If it's silicone treated, it's going to be more expensive. But this is how it comes. It comes in 50. This is 50 square feet. It just comes like wax paper. It is not identical to wax paper. So if somebody tells you that, it is non-stick parchment paper. Don't believe everything you hear when somebody says that to you. Okay, these are my scissors. I'm going to let them hide. And we have 2 surprises coming. All right. And I'm just not going to, all right. I'm going to now take my egg, my buttermilk, and my raisins, and I'm going to pour them right into the center. So I was baking before I moved to Florida. I've been baking for 40 years. So now we'll probably reveal. Should we reveal the big secret first? Or should we wait? I think we'll wait. We'll reveal the big secret in a little while. But it's definitely worth waiting for. Da, da, da. How is everyone where they live? All right, so all I'm going to do is just bring the flour to the side, and I'm going to cover the liquid in the center. Just dig down and just sweep it across the top, okay? And you don't have to do it for long. And like I said before, your flour does, if you get an extra quarter cup of flour in this mixture, don't be too surprised. Like right now, this to me looks a little dry. All right. So, and again, I'm going to take a quarter cup of buttermilk. I kind of thought it was going to be too dry. And I'm just going to pour it right in there. Because I can always add some touch-up flour. And it's going to be like a wet biscuit mixture. I'm going to actually probably wind up adding this whole pint. And a pint is a pound. And the easiest way to remember that is PP. Pint for pound and P for pound and P for pint. All right, looks like that's exactly what I'm going to wind up doing. Okay, so for my mixture and the way I did my flour, it's going to take a whole 16 ounces or a whole pint of flour. And that doesn't mean I won't add some, of buttermilk. It doesn't mean that I won't add some flour later. And just let everyone know, I did wash my hands before I started. Okay, now that's coming together much better. Do not overwork this. Okay, so now what we're going to do is now we got everything together. Here's what it looks like. Okay, the flour is dried out. The raisins are super moist. I'm going to take a handful of this all-purpose flour. I'm going to put it down on my counter. Don't be chintzy. Okay, start scooping up and just put it in the center. And pile it right on top. Now, we were talking KDY. If you don't know, KDY is my producer, along with Gonzo. And KDY is my executive producer. And we were talking about how I could do things different to where you all wouldn't have to wait. Okay? And we're going to touch base on that right now while I'm doing this. Meaning, set it and forget it type thing, where you don't have to be here for a 35-minute bake time. I'll already have one baked off. I'll put one in the oven. I'll reach underneath the counter and bam, like Emerald, bam, it's done. Let me know in your comments what you think about that. You don't want wax. No, you don't want wax on your bread. That's true. Baking with wax paper in the oven is a disaster. All right, so now what I've done is, you guys have a good look at that, or should I move? Is that better? I can move this more to me. Yeah, I'll move it more to me. Let me know what you all think about what we just talked about. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm just going to take one side to the other side. It's called quarter folds, and I'm folding each one over. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift it up. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut underneath with my hands. And let me get this little bit off of my fingers here. It is messy. And I'm just going to open this up, tuck this in, and close that back up. Okay. Get some more flour on my hands. Don't be afraid to use flour. Flour is not that expensive yet. And just take your hands and push it under. I like to do it the way I was taught. Fold it, do your quarter folds. Keep doing your quarter folds. I like that better. Again, it is a sloppy mix. It is not supposed to look like a beautiful loaf of bread. Let's turn this over. Katie, I'm getting my beautiful new shirt all dirty. Okay. Now you're going to have goo on your hands. Take your plastic scraper, scrape the goo off. It is part of your Irish soda bread. So do not throw your goo away. Get a little bit of flour on your hands and just rub your hands together. And it'll come right off. And then take that little bit, mold it together, just stick it right underneath. Okay, so here we go. Okay, one of the things I'm going to do before I take this and put it in my pan, I'm going to dust the top of it. Now I'm going to push it under. It's just going to relax. And I'm going to take my hands like this. I'm going to take my hands like this, okay? I'm going to start with my thumbs. I'm going to go under, and then I'm going to lift it up like this. And then when I put it in the frying pan, I'm going to take it out the same way, okay? So let's kind of do this together. Okay, let's start with my index fingers, not my thumbs. Pick it up and put it in the frying pan. Now, you can't see the frying pan, but you will in a second. Let me just get some of this up. Okay. The magic of TV. Yes, the magic of TV. Okay, and there it sits. Okay, I didn't push it down. I didn't do anything. There it sits. I'm going to go wash my hands for a second. And I'll be right back. I already made up a sink. If you've been here before, you know I always have up a sink of wash water for my hands. And for this being flour and a doughy substance, you want your water to be really, really, I mean, I made this water a little bit ago, so it's gotten cooler. You want it to be really warm because you want to get that mixture off of your fingers the best you can. And try not, if you're going back into a mixture, try not to use a whole lot of soap. Just try to use hot water for your wash and your rinse. Of course, your rinse is in a separate bowl on the side. And then you have your towel there. You can dry your hands. And I hope my sound is good today. I did a car show this morning. I used my same amazing microphones for that as I'm doing for this. And hello, welcome back. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the blessing. Okay, and Katie, can we add both cameras up? Me and this camera? Please. Thanks. Okay, great. Actually, the top two and then maybe not the bottom. So we're going to do the blessing. And this is a traditional Irish blessing. And how they do this is they take a serrated knife. And this is one of my big bread knives. And what they're going to do is they make a cross, a symbolized cross, across and deep. Okay? And the reason you want it deep is because this is a lot of dough and it's going to take a lot. Okay? And get some flour on my bench here. Just put my knife in. And you're going to cut down deep about a good inch all the way across. Okay, and this is called the blessing. Okay. Again, get some flour on my knife. Seems to work a little bit better. And this will not affect the way your bread's going to bake. Okay. Next thing you do, I have to step out. I have to get my other knife. Next thing you do is you have to pinch the fairies. This is really, really important. Each corner has to get pinched, and you have to just take a sharp knife and you have to pinch it. Just go right down to the bottom with your sharp knife. And this is called pinching the fairies. And the reason you do this is because fairies are always up to mischief, and they're always being blamed for everything. So you want to let them get out. And if you've had a good night and everything, and you wake up in the morning and they'll be gone. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to put it in a 425-degree oven, okay, for about 30 minutes. And here we go. And that's that. So now, how long did that take? How long have we been here? It's 10 till 3 of us. That took 50 minutes. All right. Well, if we do the if we do a bake that takes this long, then if I do like an Emerald thing or the magic of television, then we would be done in 10 minutes. But seeing that I have you all here and you want to wait, if you want to wait and you don't have anything else to do, let's make surprise number 1. Okay, surprise number 1. Now this is what I'm cleaning up here is just what I used before. All right, and this is just flour. And this is a bowl scraper. These are industrial bowl scrapers. You can find them online. They look just like that. This one came from a company I worked for called Bakemark. This has some red food coloring on it because I used it when I was making a cake for someone. And I had to mix up some icing and I needed it. And I think it was something else that I made. So all I do is it's got a nice plastic edge on it. It works great for this table. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get, oh, let's set a timer. Let's set a timer. For 28 minutes. Start. And we're at 425. Irish soda bread there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of moisture in there with the raisins, which is good, and you want to keep that. But there's a lot that goes we used a whole pound, whole 16 ounces of buttermilk. And I kind of figured we would. But I'm going to take the rest of my buttermilk, and this is what we were talking about earlier, Katie. My one picture, whoa. My one picture is going to get a little wonky. I'm still going to need my buttermilk. All right. So here's the surprise. There's something else that you can make. We're going to take this flour and we're just going to put it in here. And that's going to be like the extra flour that we put in by hand earlier. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make a surprise. Okay. We're going to make scones with the exact same recipe, the exact same way. But we're going to make a surprise scone. And you're going to have to wait for that one. All right. Now the scones so much, we still need our sifter. We'll still need our flour. Our Pillsbury flour. We'll still need our sugar and our salt and our egg and our baking powder and baking soda. So we'll get those ingredients back out here where we had them. Okay, and our butter. And there we go. All right, so we have our cake. All right, so we're going to do the exact same thing. Now that we've done it before, I'm just going to go at a different pace. We'll call it baker's pace. Okay. And I'll count it off as I'm putting it in. Okay, we're going to make the pastry flour first, which is 1 cup. 1 cup of cake flour. Did I say that right before? Yep. And 1 cup of bread flour. I'm using the 1/2 cup scoop. What do we have here? Okay. Sound is perfect. Great. Thank you. Maybe an Irish Spring scent. Ooh, Irish Spring. No, that would not taste good. No. I said 30 minutes. Thanks, Katie. Why? Is that the same bowl? This is the same bowl. Less cleaning. Thank you, Mar. Yes, same bowl. This is my Stitch mixing bowl. I love this bowl. And now we're going to add our all-purpose flour. Let's sift in the 2 cups and 2 cups. So we're making our own pastry flour. Put this down. If you hit this on the side of your hand like a tambourine, it works a lot better. So we didn't have pastry flour, which my recipe calls for. So we used, if you're just coming in, we use cake flour, 1/2 cake flour, and 1/2 of bread flour. Half and half makes pastry flour. So if you can't find pastry flour, that's a quick fix for you. All right, so now we're going to need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and that'll be 4 of these. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to leave our flour there. Okay, we'll sift this in. Excuse me. And then we're going to need 1 cup of sugar. This is a 1/2 cup measure. And that's 1 cup of sugar. I didn't have to sift the sugar, so I'll just dump it in there. Okay, we're done with the sifter. Excuse me. Okay, so here's what we got. We need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And again, we're just going to pour this right over the old trash can so we don't get too much in our mixture. I don't keep salt in a container like for baking, so there's a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And now we need 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And again, the baking soda is a little lumpy, so it's 1 teaspoon. It's a little lumpy. I'm just going to put it in my hand and just rub the lumps out in the palm of my hand. And then we're going to use 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And the baking powder has a flat lip on it if you've never seen that. And that's why you can just come right across with your measurer. There we go. All right. So we're done with those guys. We'll take our whisk and our whisk that in. Okay, we'll grab our butter. And we know we need 5 1/4 tablespoons. If you look on the side of your butter wrapper, it'll tell you exactly where that's at. It won't tell you where the 1/4 is. So if you do 5 1/2, you'll be okay. That's what I think we did last time. We tried to do 5 1/4. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1/4. We'll turn that around. we're going to put that right in our flour mixture. And we'll set this butter over here for bagels for tomorrow morning. So I don't have any Irish jokes. So you can't tell any Irish jokes. I am an honorary leprechaun, though. All right, so there's that. All right, so the next liquid that we would need would be our buttermilk, as we used to call it in the industry, buster milk. Okay, so we have buster milk, and we know we're almost going to need all of this. Maybe not, because those raisins were dry. So we'll start, like we said before, with we're going to do 8 ounces, and then we'll come back and do 4 more. Okay, and then we'll let that sit there. All right, so now we're going to cut in our butter. Cutting it in means just chopping it in with your plastic scraper. You're going to like this surprise. These scones, not going to be any scones that you've ever had before, I tell you. Okay, now flour can get wonky on you. All right, so we need this. We're going to clear our space now. We're going to need our knife, so we'll leave that here. We're going to need our pan spray. We are not going to need our parchment paper or our scissors, but we will need our knife and the rest of our here. Here's our egg. All right, great. We set these items in the sink, except for the knife. We do not put knives in the sink unattended. Rolling pin. Rolling pin should always be put in front of something so it doesn't roll off your bench and hit the floor, because the handles will bend. And that little metal rod inside will bend, and then you'll have a wonky rolling pin forever until you buy another one. All right. All right, so now we got our flour. Our butter is mixed in with our flour. Hello, Mars, that same bowl. I wondered why the sugar. Yeah, thanks, Mar. Mars' attention to detail is amazing. Why did the Irish baker always carry a ladder? Because he wanted to make high-rise Irish soda bread. Oh, that's funny. I like that. I never heard that one before. All right, so here we go. So that's there. Let's go in with the egg. Let's go in with the 12 Irish. Yep, I said 1 cup, but we know that's not right. So we're going to go 12, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we're going to fold this in. Now, same as your Irish soda bread. Now this is a biscuit. What are scones? Are glorified biscuits. I've said that my whole career. A scone is nothing but a glorified biscuit. But if you overmix your scone, it's mud. I mean, not seriously mud, but if you overmix your scone, it's just not a good scone. It just gets too tight. We should continue. So that was 8, that was 12. And this is almost all the 16. I'll take 2 ounces and put the 2 ounces in first. And then we'll have a surprise. We're going to let this rest a little bit before we actually throw down and make the scones. Yep, we're going to wind up using a lot of this. So I'll make the adjustment when I put the recipe in the comments for everybody. All right, this gets mixed a little bit more, and then it'll be done. We're bringing up the flour from the bottom. Focus on that too. When you're mixing it, just turn your spatula over and bring your flour up from the bottom. Okay. And this is gonna let that flour mixture, it's gonna let that sit while we do the next step. And the next step's gonna blow your mind. At least I hope it is. Okay, we'll set that across here. We're gonna set this here. My goodness, excuse me. Hope that wasn't loud on your end. Oh my, that was different. Oh, that wasn't too loud. Okay, I just saw what I needed. It's up here. La 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 la. There we go. So an Irishman walks into a bakery and he goes, "You know what this is?" He goes, "Yeah, it's great." Bad joke. It's great. I love it. It wasn't funny. It is if you wrote the joke. I just wrote it as I grabbed it. All right, guys. So we have, and this will go well with any Irish dinner. Just get yourself some sharp cheddar cheese. Keep it in the fridge. Get your grater and grate yourself some cheese. We don't know how much we're going to need, but we're going to grate a bunch. How many of you are uncomfortable with graters? I think there's an uncommon trick that most people don't teach. Is start at the base of your piece of cheese and start at the base and put it at the top and just go to the table with your knuckle and then stop and then pick it up and turn it over because it'll get lopsided if you don't. And add pressure into these little blades. And any cheese that you don't use, you can put in your salad tomorrow. I always try to repurpose stuff. Okay, so instead of me, lifting that all up and making a mess, okay, we're just gonna let that sit there. I'm gonna take the rest of my cheese, pull my plastic wrap back over it, and we will temporarily put that in the fridge, and we'll seal that up really good later. But for right now, we'll just set it there. I'll get my handy dandy plastic scraper here, and I'm gonna scrape my cheddar over to the corner, and then we're gonna start making these scones. And I think my batter is where I kind of wanted it. Okay, it's like a biscuit, but it's not as tight. Okay, so we're just gonna put a little bit more flour on top of it, and we're gonna get ready to do these bad boys. And my cutter Did I remember where I put my cutter? Oh, I think I know where I put it. And there it is. Ta-da! It's my Mickey cutter. We'll make Mickey scones. All right, here we go. Now again, I did not remove my cheddar. This does have baking powder in it, so it's going to start moving. And that quarter turn that I did for the Irish soda bread is what I'm going to do here. So that's how you grate cheese, right? Oh, well, that's how I grate cheese. I think it's easier for me that way. I hope that works for you, Chris. I just find it that some people aren't comfortable grating cheese. And when I think people make scones, I think they over mix their scone batter. And again, I think scones are glorified biscuits. So, and again, this is an opinion from me, but I think so. Okay, and with any biscuit, you're going to do quarter folds. Keep flour on your hands. I'm not going to do more than 2 quarter folds all the way around because I can already feel it getting tighter. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to set it over here. I'm going to lay my flour out. Okay. I'm going to pick this up, turn it over in my hands. Now I'm just going to pick the flour up, put it in the wet part of my hand, and just go ahead and roll it off. Okay. So let's roll. And I did not use, I used all but about 2 ounces of buttermilk. So again, you don't feel you have to put all the buttermilk in. But if you do, you can just go ahead and use a little extra flour. I like to roll from the center out. Scones really don't have to be shrunk that much. Shrunk. Oh, what is Baker talking about? Okay. When you shrink your dough, it's when you take a flat knife or something similar. Let me remove my flour from all around my edge. And that way, I won't get flour on my floor. When I shrink my dough. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to get my knife, I'm going to put it under here, and I'm just going to plop a little bit of air under that. Or you can do it with your hands. Like if you're trying to get a sheet on the bed. There you go. Fix your edges. You want this about a 1/2 inch. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Get your flour. Use the flour that's on your bench. Collect it. Get it together. Use that for your biscuit cutter. Okay. We're going to put this here. I'm going to grab one of my cookie pans from behind me. I need a little bit of room here for my cookie pan. We hope everybody is enjoying their Saturday. For you to be here, this is pretty cool. All right, so here's how this is going to happen. We're going to go into the fridge. You know what? Let's just use. No, we're going to go in the fridge and we're going to grab another egg. We're going to crack our egg. And we're going to use our whole egg. And I'm going to whisk it up. I have more than one whisk. Thank you, Jesus. And you can't see what I'm doing. Sorry about that. But I'm adding a little bit of water to my egg. And I'm making basically what they call an egg wash. You can hear it. You just can't see it. Okay. Egg wash. 1 egg and 1/4 of a shell of water. If you were to crack your egg and you keep half the shell, fill the shell halfway with water and dump it in with your egg. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to grate. I think that might be too big. No, what the heck. We're going to take our cutter and we're going to take our hand and we're going to put a little bit of this egg wash on this. Now we're going to let our cheddar cheese fall down. Okay. And we're going to dip this right on top of the cheddar cheese. And then we're going to pick it up. And we're going to put it on our plate. On our cookie tray. Now you can use a round biscuit cutter. I just couldn't find mine at the moment. So I just used my Mickey one. And I'm going to dust the top of this with a little bit of flour. Help my cutter go through. And again, here we go. I'm going to cut them first. How's everybody doing? Thanks for talking to each other through chat. I think that's great. So we're doing the channel is doing really well. We're picking up subscribers. We're just need some more watch time. We need to get up to 3,000 hours of watch time. So I think doing things like this, putting some videos out that I've been putting out, some short content videos are really going to help. All right, so here we are with the egg wash. You can't see that, so let me move it where you can see it. Down onto these. I'm going to put a little bit more cheddar on top of them. I would not suggest putting cheddar in with the batter for these, just because it would make it just probably fall apart just because of the density of the cheddar. I mean, the cheddar being meltable, where it's just going to melt. I'm thinking about doing this a little different. I think what I'm going to do is, oh my gosh, you guys can't see the tray. Oh, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these scones up on the tray, and then I'm going to egg wash them on the tray, and then I'm going to put the cheddar on top of them on the tray. And we'll see how that works. Okay. I can smell the Irish soda bread. It smells wonderful. Okay, so there we go. I could probably get in more, but what I just noticed is if I got in more, I wouldn't have enough for another full pan. And I think if I make some more, I'll have more. If I make some more, I'll have room for another full pan. So and again, I used my Mickey cutter just because that was the one that was available. These are going to taste delicious. I use mild cheddar. The recipe called for sharp, but I use mild. And some of this cheese will probably melt onto the pan. These are really good seasoned baking pans I've had for a while, so I'm really not that concerned about them. Okay, and we're going to let these sit, so we're going to bake these together. Let's see, where can I set this? Okay, I'm going to wash my hand. Oh, there we go. That sounds like a plan. Now, my oven, when that timer goes off, my oven will go into shutdown mode. So look at that. That's perfect timing almost. All right. We're not going to end. We're going to keep the bake on. And then we're going to feel the center. Okay. I know from experience, I have to feel the center of this bread. Okay. And I know this bread is not done. It is not done. Okay. We're going to go 10 more minutes. Okay. Okay. But what we are going to do, we are going to put this above it. We're going to put in a tray of our scones. Because the scones are going to take about 12 to 14 minutes to bake. Booyah! Love it. Love it when a plan comes together. All right, let's grab another bakery tray. So, all right, let's catch up. 3 minutes remaining on bread bake. Thanks, Katie. Irish country baguette. Beignets. There you go. I love that. We are trying to get Chris's view. Yes, we are. Thank you so much. These streams are my favorite right now. Oh, thanks. I appreciate you, Theo. Thank you very much. These are Red Lobster biscuits. Ooh, Red Lobster biscuits are so yummy. Yes, I agree. Chive and garlic butter. Is egg wash supposed to help with the cheese stick? Yes, that's it. I'm sorry, Mar. It does too. Egg wash on anything that's bread related, biscuit related, does two things. If you're adding something to it, it'll help it stick, and it'll help color. Egg yolk is a coloring agent. Egg yolk and egg wash and egg whites are a coloring agent. Yes, she's amazing. Thank you for saying thank you, Theo. It's real important, you know. And Theo, you did it just to do it, but I don't think we see that enough. I don't think we hear it enough. I think we see it sometimes, but I don't think we hear it enough sometimes. And a lot of people do a lot for a lot of channels out here. And some get recognized and some don't want recognition, and that's okay. But when it comes from, you know, well, Theo, you know, when it comes from, you know, just the heart, you know, it's when it's meant the most. And I really appreciate that. Thank you. And she does a great job. And I had the honor to meet her. Katie and I met a couple weeks ago, and her family was here, and we got to spend a day together over at Animal Kingdom, and we had an amazing time together. So that meant a lot to me, and I'm sure it meant a lot to Katie. So, and for you recognizing that, Theo, I greatly appreciate that. You know, when I go back to when I started, I mean, if you go back and you watch my first videos, I mean, they're just, I mean, I don't know. They're just, I always want to entertain, I think, but I think being here now, where I am at, I think the entertainment part for me is not as important as the teaching part. I can be entertaining. You've seen me on a couple of different, streams, where I'm the fun guy and I'm the silly guy, and and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think where I'm at now is where I want to be a teaching part of that, to where I'm sharing my knowledge of baking, sharing my knowledge of my faith, and I think I don't think that's exactly where I'm headed now. That's what my focus is to give back and teach people. A friend of I just watched a serious video last night about Christina Applegate, and if you don't know, the daughter that played the woman who played the daughter of the Kingpin in the movie Sopranos, she had MS. She was diagnosed with MS while she was filming The Sopranos. And Christina Applegate has MS. My sister has MS. And I was scrolling through something this morning and found out that a friend of my son's, who has a Slice and Rice, very popular Instagram, YouTube, he's been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So it's just interesting how when I say I want to give back by doing bakes, and my baking will be as fundraisers. Not My baking will be fundraisers for causes such as that. My nephew has I'm gonna gosh, I gotta stop saying my nephew has been diagnosed for a while now with autism, and he's on a spectrum. My sister has MS. I donate and volunteer for Give Kids the World, and I see children coming in all the time. Again, I make magic at Walt Disney World, so I see a lot of different people. Oh yeah, it's getting better. Getting better. And I just want to give back now. And that's what I'm going to do. And I have help. I've been blessed to have friendships that are helping me do that. And that's pretty much the way I'm going to roll. So that's that. And I like having fun. But if you notice, Dawn, I didn't use any parchment for these Mickey scones. Nope, just went with the way they are. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're here, and this little bit, there's just a little tiny bit here. I'm just going to put that in the trash. I'm going to drop this in the sink, and I'm going to clean off my table right quick because the soda bread's getting ready to come out. We're going to have to finish those off in a bit, but I want to pull the soda bread out and show you all what it looks like. I love this little plastic scraper. I should get a bunch of these little plastic scrapers and just give them away on lives, like on baking lives. Okay, scrub, 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 scrub. Quick scrub, quick scrub, quick scrub. Rinse, 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 rinse. And hot pads, hot pads, hot pads. Oh, another thing that you may or may not know, if you have a dish towel and your dish towel is been used to dry your hands, and you put it over your oven like this, and you're still baking, don't grab it. All right, we're almost there, folks. Oh, It smells so good. It smells so good. We're almost there. All right. Okay, we're adding 5 more minutes. You do not want to take a dish towel that's wet, put it on your oven door while you're still baking, because what happens sometimes is you'll grab it, you'll wrap it around your hand, and you'll grab something hot from the oven, and that heat gets transferred like that from that damp towel now to a hot towel, and then you're going to drop whatever you have. Make sure you use your hot pads. Didn't know if you knew that, but I wanted to give you that little tidbit of information. All right, so we're going to bring these amazing scones back up. Stuff to the bottom of that, nothing. All right, we have our scones, we have our egg wash, and I do have a brush, a pastry brush. See if I still have it in this drawer here. Oh, didn't want to do that. So much for that light, Katie. Just hit the ground. I don't think it's going to work anymore because it's not moving. And my pastry brush is not in here, which means I need to get it. Oh, let's see. The light will come back to life. That was one of my LED lights. Oh, it came back to life. Thank you, Jesus. All right. There we go. Ta-da. All right, so I'll just continue to use my hand here. So what we're going to do is just put some egg wash on here lightly, just so the cheddar cheese will help stick to it. You know, I looked out, I had, we had won, Vanessa and I, a gift basket from a dance. I think I talked about this my last bake, and some amazing prizes were there. There's a Cuisinart in it, and I haven't used it yet. So I'm thinking about what things I can use in the baking process with the how I can't even say it, Cuisinart. Okay. And never pour your eggs in your sink with other washed things that need to be washed. Make sure all the eggs are gone, like I just did. All right. Those scones don't look too bad. All right, all right. All right, so now we go cheese, cheese, cheese. It was so much fun. Oh, I'm glad you had a good time. Katie had a great time. Now I have adopted grandchildren now. I think that's okay to say. We're not legally adopted. We're Disney adopted fun grandchildren. There we go. We took them over to we went to Animal Kingdom. We went and saw Chip and Dale dressed as dinosaurs. We saw Daisy, the designer. We got pictures of Minnie and Mickey. Got to get those pictures out to you. What else did we do? Oh, we went to Rafiki's Planet. Got to pet the goats and the animals over there. Yes, we did. Okay. A fine pastry brush. Hard to clean. Yeah, they don't. The pastry brushes now, Mar, they're like plastic handles, and they're not. I don't care for them. But I know where I can get industrial pastry brushes. And something we didn't do last time is we need to poke the scones to let the fairies out. I don't know if that's so much on the scones as it is on the Irish soda bread. And there's our timer. Perfect timing. Timers have a way of doing that, having perfect timing. Okay. Let us take this here. All right. All right. Grab my hot pads from over here. You're in the money. You're in the money. I don't know why I'm singing this song. Okay, there's Mickey. Hi, Mickey. Turn you around so everybody can see you. Oh, hiya, pal. All right. Oh, now it's done. Yes, yes, yes. Actually, it's not. But these bad boys look like they're done. Oh, these look so good. Oh, I need to get a flipper. I need to see the bottom. Just need to look at the bottoms and see how they look. Almost. Almost. I think what I'm going to do is switch these guys around. I still need, and I'll show you. So there's what it looks like, and I'm going to show you what's going on. We're still wet in the center. It's still collapsing a little bit. Okay, so we're going to just slow the bake down a little bit. We already reduced it to 400. Okay, and we're going to just keep it at 400, and we're going to take our timer, and we'll go 4 minutes. Start. So there's that. But we can't put these guys in yet. No, we can't. No, we can't. Or can I? No, I can't. Wish I had another rack. That's okay. We can talk. Okay. So we reviewed, let's review. My recipe fell on the floor here. Sorry. All right, here's what we reviewed. We reviewed how to make pastry flour. Half cake flour, half bread flour makes pastry flour. If you have a recipe that needs pastry flour, it's that simple. Sift them both together, and that's what you got. Anytime you're making Irish soda bread, sift your flour. If you're making beignets, sift your flour, because it adds, if you're making a souffle, sift your flour. If you're making sponge cake, sift your flour. It adds air into your flour, which makes your cake or beignet or Irish soda bread that much better. It adds air to it. We reviewed soaking raisins overnight. Can you soak raisins in a microwave? Yes. Why are you going to cook your raisin? Don't cook your raisin. Prepare. Use hot water. Do you have to wait overnight? No. You can wait probably 3-4 hours. It's not going to absorb as much water to keep whatever you're putting your raisins in moist as it would if you soak them overnight. You saw what I did. What did I do? How many ounces? How many ounces were the boxes? Yeah, the boxes were 12 ounces. So I used a cup, which probably came to about 6 ounces of raisins. And then I just covered them with hot water. And this morning, all the water was gone. Well, not all the water. I drained a little bit off of it because I didn't want the excess water going in. But you can drain the water off. Don't squeeze your raisin, because then you're just squeezing the water back out of it. Invest in time in what you're doing. Prepare. It's easier for me to stand here and say, prepare. Okay. Well, in my head all day yesterday, even when I was out in the yard planting some plants, I was thinking about how the bake was going to go today, how I was going to set it up. how much time I needed to set it up. Those of you that have YouTube channels out there, when you go live, when you're thinking about going live in the parks or live in your studio or live in your kitchen, for wherever you go live, you have to prepare. You have to get things together. You have to make sure this camera angle's right and this camera angle's right and this one's right. The more you do it, the more it's like anything else with what you do normally. Like it's your job. It just comes secondhand. Baking comes secondhand to me. It really does. I'm excited about the last surprise that I'm going to have, but I'm going to talk about something that was pretty much put in me as a young kid. Do the best at what you can do. Be your best. I heard Joel Osteen talking the other day about running your race. Run your race. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Don't worry about how many other subscribers somebody has. Was I like that at the beginning? Yeah, I was like that. Am I like that now? Nope. I don't worry about that because my thought process has changed. I'm wanting to give back more. And it's not about subscribers. It's about people. So hold off. Let's check this Irish soda bread. All right, so our temperature went back up. We're going to bring it out. We're going to check the top of it again, see if we have that stiffness. And there we go. It's there. It's solid. Okay. So now she stays. All right, so she's going to stay here. And then we're going to put these. We're going to bring these out. And those were about 18 to 20 minutes. So let's put these in now. 400 degrees. Let's do 15 minutes and see where we're at without opening up. These look absolutely delicious. This looks beautiful. Wow, that's and I'm gonna leave it in the pan for now. When it cools down a little bit, I think I'll take it out of the pan and put it back on. But this is an iron skillet, so it'll keep cooking in that iron skillet. Okay, so let's go. Let's get a cooling rack out. So what were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about what Joel said. Okay, so what Joel said was he's a runner. Joel Osteen's a pastor at his church in Lakewood, Texas, and he was talking about running your own race. And there's look, the bottoms of these are a little toasty, but ooh, these are going to be good. Wow, these are hot. Duh. Just come out of an oven. And they held their shape. Oh, they held their shape. If I trim the cheese off, they look like little Mickey scones. These are going to be delicious. So he was running one day. Joel Osteen was running one day. And he saw an older gentleman. He called him an older gentleman. I thought it was funny. He said maybe he could have been up in his 50s or 60s. Or something like that. I'm like, oh, geez, I'm an older gentleman. And there was a route that Joel always ran, a route that he ran. He said in one spot in his route, it went for a mile for straight, a mile. And he said, well, he's older than me. I can catch up to him. Wow, these are going to be delicious. And good catch. So he said I sped up, and he said he must have thought that was No, he said he didn't think I was racing him. He said, but I was racing him. He just didn't know it. He says, and I was so focused on beating him that I went past my turn about 8 blocks back. So be focused on running your race. Be focused on what you are doing and help others. Help others achieve what you've achieved. You know, if somebody calls you and asks you help with their YouTube channel, help them. You know, it's no secret. I mean, there are some things that people don't understand about YouTube. Hello, I was one of them. And I don't understand everything about YouTube now. But I help people with the knowledge that I have and what I have. And I think that's what God wants us to do. God wants, look, you know, the shirt says it all. You know, mixing faith, I have faith, and batter, because miracles and muffins happen in the kitchen. And that's why I'm the Disney baker. I'm the Disney baker because I've been given an opportunity and a knowledge where I can go anywhere and help people live. I can go anywhere and bake for people. I still have it. I've been doing it for 40 years. It's still up here. We're going to get ready to end here. I'll show you a picture on Instagram or on my YouTube on how those turned out, but there's no sense you guys being here. I appreciate you being here. Let me catch up. 100 Acre Wood. Good to see you. I love that name. 100 Acre Wood. That's because I'm a Tigger fan. It's good to see you. I'm glad you've been around. Well, I think so. And you know, Theo, if you go to mix this and you get into, I'll put, like I said, I'll put the recipe, and I'll put the recipe down below. I still haven't figured out how to do that before I start my stream. Let's cut one of these in half. Let me get another knife. Oh, and all recipes say don't take your Irish soda bread out right when you pull from the oven. It needs to relax. It's just fragile at this point because it's still hot. Oh God! Can you give me that camera? Look at that. Now I like how people were giving their thoughts on that too. You know how chives and something could make that even better. Is it a glorified biscuit? It is, but it's just I can squeeze it. It's nice. Okay, I'm gonna take a bite. Oh my! The sugar, Irish soda bread. If you've never had Irish soda bread, go buy one. Go to your market. Go to a bakery that's making Irish soda bread this weekend. Order one from Monday. See if you can order one from Monday if they make it there. If there's a scratch bakery where you need, you'll actually fall in love. All Irish soda breads, there's a lot of different kinds. Okay, let's talk about that. We'll come back to what else touch about. Some people put caraway seeds in it. Okay, I don't put caraway seeds in it. There's 17 of you here. I'm telling you, I've never put caraway seeds in an Irish soda bread. I don't like caraway seeds. I like rye bread. I just don't like it with seeded. I like unseeded rye, not seeded rye. Pumpernickel never should have caraway seeds in it. Okay, it's soda, baking soda. It's a teaspoon. Okay, your flavor profile is coming from your buttermilk, coming from your sugar. That's your flavor profile. You want a different flavor profile? Add your chives. It's not a bad idea. Katie had a great idea. Add chives. You know, you want to add dehydrated onions. You know, let them soak in water the night before. Same thing. Bring them back up to onion form. Put them in there with some chives, some cheddar. It doesn't matter. That's the cool thing about baking, is take a recipe and make it your own. Make it your own. I think that's the cool part. Little pieces of cheddar. Who bakes stuff and then finds the little pieces of cheddar on the tray and then eats it? There's a brownie company that did that, where the brownies would overspill on the tray, and then one day they just started selling the brownie pieces, and then that was their business. Sheet pans of brownies, just paper thin, they would bake, and that's all it is. But take your recipe, make it your own, and share it with the world. It's kind of like your faith. Take the recipe that you've been taught since you were a kid. If you weren't taught that recipe of faith since you were a kid, talk to somebody that has. Go online. Go men's devotional Bibles, women's devotional Bibles. Get to know the person that made the perfect recipe, which is you. And change it up a little bit and share it with everybody. And that's the best that I can. That just came to me. And share it with the world. Make the world a better place. Order that Irish soda bread. It doesn't have to have raisins in it. Some do, some don't. Some have currants in it. Currants is what they make champagne out of. Okay? But make it your own. Make it delicious and share it with the people you know. This is where we're going to end for today. We've been here 2, 3, 4 hours, hour and 50 minutes. I am Chris the Disney Baker. There's not another one there's not another me. You are you, and there's not another you. So if this is what you want to do, you want to get on YouTube, you want to get on Instagram, you want to share your story, do it. You need any help with it? Reach out to me. I'll see how I can help you. That's what we're all here for. So from the Disney Baker's Kitchen, I want to say TTFN, ta-ta for now. Thank you to all my moderators that popped in. Thank you for everyone's on #replay. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe before you go. Please share me out before you go. Please help me with getting my view time up. I appreciate that as much as you know. Okay. Everything that went into today was funded by me. Okay. I'm going to share this with my neighbors. I'll take some stuff up to the firehouse. But as I go forward and I hit those 3,000 view hours and I get monetized by YouTube, okay, there's going to be PayPals and there's going to be Cash Apps and things like that to support the channel. But when I do bakes like this, the monies that come in for the bakes, for the fundraisers, will go for this, for a pastry brush if I need a pastry brush, but more so from ingredients. And then all the monies that come in from that through Whatnot, as I put those items out and I want to bake, and then the next day I want to get on, or that night I want to get on Whatnot or live from here and just put those items out there for auction and let people buy them, and I'll ship them out to you. But all that money that comes in from that is going to go to MS, autism, and Give Kids the World. I appreciate you. TTFN, ta-ta for now. Peace, love, and pixie dust hugs. Pixie dust hugs will have to do until we meet in person. So long, guys. We'll see you soon.